At the age of 3 or 4, while swimming at the Fisher's swimming pool, about 1958, my circular floating tube became my death trap. I could see my sisters who were with me. The one closest to me was sitting on the cement sidewalk talking to two boys. The pool wasn't really even open yet, so the lifeguard wasn't there. I was in the little child's area where a chain link fence divided the deep water from the shallow. I couldn't reach onto it to stop my spinning in the tube. I could see my other sister standing by the deep driving area with two boys. I saw this from above the pool. Even at this young age, I felt anger that they were not watching me, but with this thought I was suddenly with two beings. I believe they were angels now. My next memory is of a tunnel. It had black fluid sides, which were irresistible to a toddler. I reached to touch it, and one of my companions pulled back my hand and told me never to touch it, as the darkness on the other side of it was evil. How a toddler knew evil, I can't explain, but much that was beyond my age was understood. As far as I know, I had no religious training at this point. Looking forward, I could see a light which drew me. I had to go to it. There was no choice. Perhaps it was my age, but I had no choice, and of course, I was being escorted. At the end of the tunnel was a beautiful field, full of wild flowers. Once again, I just knew what they were. A figure met me there. I didn't identify him as Jesus then, I do now, but I knew he was waiting for me, and his love filled me beyond understanding. The instant he took my hand, my short life reviewed. I remember one particular instance. My cousin Kathy and I were playing dolls. She took a dress or something I wanted, and I pushed her backwards where she hit her head on the thick stone walls of our house. I saw this instance not from just my perspective, but from hers, and how it made her feel, and how it would influence her and all she encountered for the rest of eternity. A very large idea for a child to understand. I actually experienced each person's response from that one instant. I remember thinking it's like throwing pebbles into water and watching how each individual intersected and changed the others. It's a devastating feeling to realize just how impactful our every word, every deed, and every thought is, how it affects all of creation. Not just on earth, but all creation. We are made in the image of God, we are His, and we have power beyond our wildest imaginations. Yet again, another large transfer of knowledge/understanding for such a young child. I use the word understanding because everything is known. No wonder, just knowing. We walked and talked further. I asked questions a child would ask. How do birds fly? Why do bees sting? And the like. He asked if I wanted to return to my parents. You would think a little child would be panicked being away from all they knew, but I wasn't. This place was wonderful. No, I wanted to stay. He smiled and told me, I will return someday, but for now, I was going to have to return to my earthly home. I had things to do for him yet, and that excited me. I would do anything for him. This was just a visit for me to draw upon later in my life. The walk continued on. We came to a small bridge. If I was an adult, I could have jumped across it with ease. There was a willow tree on the other side and a small footbridge to cross, but we wouldn't cross it. I somehow knew if we crossed and walked to the top of the hill, just past the bridge, there would be no returning. God's city was just over that hill, His home. Sitting at the other side of the bridge was a large black dog. I knew he was excitedly waiting for me. I didn't know the dog then, but would know him someday on earth. I would recognize him and remember my visit to this place at that time and some other truths God had told me. Little did I know I wouldn't see that dog until 1997, when I would be 42 years old. One of the unremembered knowledges given at this time was animals do come back to us in our lives. Yes, reincarnate, and will be with us throughout eternity. And no, humans do not reincarnate. It is confused sometimes because we will know each another's experiences from each person's perspective immediately in heaven, as if we lived their life. We are made in God's image. Omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence is ours as well. But when we are in spirit, not in this physical life. How this was shared with me as a child and how it came back to me in midlife is incredible. We are here to learn and to teach. We are growing until we are the companions we were created to be for God. And we are also a lesson for all of creation as to why God is God, the Alpha and the Omega. The way to get to where we belong is simple. Seek the creator of all creation. He will bring us to him. He created you to find him. There is the Christian side of myself that wants to expand on this, but I cannot because that is not what I was told. No religion, no man, no belief here on earth is perfect. Only God can find us and bring us to him. Just seek God the Creator. He'll do the rest. Wish I could expand, but it's not mine to do from this NDE. Near-death experience 2. Death comes quietly, serenely, beautifully. Death comes quietly. It isn't vicious. It isn't cruel. It is just change. Everything is so much brighter, so much more real. Just more, more, more. There is no earthly description. How could there be? You're in God's home. The light permeates everywhere and through everything. Smells wrap around you and love envelops you to your spiritual essence. You won't even realize you're not alive anymore because you'll feel more alive than you ever have. First, I found myself walking on a simple but impeccably laid cobbled street lined with large, beautiful homes on each side, embraced by giant trees. My closest earthly example would be Williamsburg, VA, early morning in spring. Knowing inside each home was held a moment in time, a sweet memory, perfect in every detail, with those loved and thought lost there for eternity. You can walk through anyone's home and experience the moment. Walking further, I next came to what I knew was my home, though I never lived there. Traversing its garden path, lined with the most beautiful flowers in colors so vivid they are impressed in every part of my being. They are like garments to adorn a new self. Movements of animals are everywhere, but none moved away, at the same time realizing they were old friends who knew me despite my never seeing them. Their thoughts were in me with a silent communication. They always had been there. I just didn't listen until in this place. Awareness. Pets join us in heaven. Looking further, it comes to me that flowers that bloom in the fall are blooming next to those that dress in their finest in spring. It was then I realized I was no longer breathing where I was born, but now took breath in death. No cold, no darkness, no pain, no longing, just peaceful, fulfilling, all-encompassing beautiful love. Lifting my head for the first time since my walk began, he, the great I am, is there with love radiating. The most beautiful smile and sparkling eyes that too quickly turn sad. I know he will miss me more than I will him. He has always known me. I am just beginning to know him. He says with unspoken, unbridled love, it's not your time. Once more, I know I must leave him. The greatest sorrow I have ever felt, the deepest, darkest grief, leaving God once more. This is greater grief than losing a loved one on earth. Next, I find myself in a bright white room where I see two forms, two people sitting in simple white chairs. They were my mother and father. Their relationship to me is different here, but they still are teachers to me now. They explain to me I cannot stay. My time has not yet come. They say it over and over again. There is still purpose in my life below. I plead and argue with all that is within me. I stay there, fixed by my own selfish desire. Another appears in the room, my son Joey. The joy I feel is inexpressible. His love in return is genuine. He is different, so much wiser, but he is still my son. I will always teach him. Awareness. In spirit there is still growth, thus identified as age to me in this place. Think Jacob's ladder. We're all on different rungs, but on the same path. How can I or anyone leave this place? But he too tells me I must go. I cannot yet stay with them or God. My work is not done. This being my second visit to this ethereal place, I will not go quietly or quickly, even with the reminders of my grandchildren. Even that isn't enough to move me immediately. Still, I hold on to the desire to stay with him. Nothing else matters. It's all about him. It always has been about him, the great I am, since my first breath. Finally, my son says it's time. I must go, and he shares with me there are 3 more grandsons coming into my life on earth. He has been preparing them to come into the family. He says that I am to show them and others the way back to this place, heaven. Only then may I return home to God. Taking my hand, my son says he'll take me back. With a kiss to my forehead, he leaves and I open my eyes in a hospital bed. I am here for now, but in my heart's heart, I am still there in that garden with him. It is hard to remain knowing what I am missing, knowing where I truly belong, to whom I belong. So here I stay for as long as I must. Praying this document is somehow helping in the completion of my task. Yes, the afterlife is real. It's more real than here. Reach out to him, God, and he will bring you to him and your true home. It's that simple. No doctrine, rules, guidelines. He will give them when you are ready. Just the desire to know your Creator, and he will bring you home to him. That is what I am to share with you from God. As his word says, Matthew 6:33, King James Version, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Thank you for tuning in to today's captivating video. Every story showcased on this channel is either graciously shared by our viewers or carefully curated from the rich archives of ians.org, unless specified otherwise. If you have a personal story you'd love to see featured, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find my email conveniently listed in the video description below. Looking forward to hearing from you.